Hello everyone! Happy Monday! Welcome to this episode of Youth Outreach United to Help. We are live here right now. This is your Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Chua Rojo, and I hope you are all doing well. We'd like to invite all of our other friends and other supporters and followers from all of our other pages so that they can come and be with us in this special episode of Wazzup Doc here in Youth TV Network. So our topic right now is about how to overcome sugar cravings. Yes, I know we've had an episode last holiday season in Wazzup Doc, but I would like to reiterate this topic, especially that we are now past our holiday season. So it is important that we can overcome sugar cravings, much more so overcoming sugar addiction. So if you are like me, who might be also struggling or have been into or have suffered from sugar addiction, let's come invite other friends and families to learn more about this entity that we have been debilitated for so long. So sugar cravings, what is it? Why do we have it? And how to overcome it. And it's important that we know that, so that that's the only way that we can have a safe life, safe living, and of course a very healthy well-being. It is important that our food intake will only nourish us and not make us sick. So whenever we eat, you should ask if this is going to heal me, if it is going to nourish me, or if it is going to make me sick. So that is an important thing that we should note so that we can optimize this life that we have. So for those of you who do not know me yet, I am Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. I am a physician practicing here in the Philippines. Sorry, we've come a little late because of some technical difficulties, and at the same time, we were busy today with our clinic. So I wrote 3 books. The second book is Perfect at Last Health. So this is the second book, and it is most important because it will tackle a lot of lifestyle diseases that are affecting millions, if not billions of people all over the world. So we have this book. It is entitled Perfect at Last Health, Eat to Heal. So it will help you actually know what foods to eat so that you can optimize your health, and at the same time what foods to avoid so that we can avoid getting sick as well. So it has a lot of chapters here. So there is the chapter 1, of course, origin of modern day diseases. Chapter 2 would be the science and open close parenthesis, the politics behind lifestyle diseases. Yes, our lifestyle diseases, the most common: diabetes, hypertension, or also known as high blood pressure. Also, there are a lot of diseases like obesity, overall weight gain, and sometimes allergies. Yes, they're still part of our lifestyle diseases, even certain tumors and cancers. Thank you, Marvy, for watching. If you can help, please share this to our friends and low carbers. Yes, we are all low carbers. We opt to eat food that are low in calories, coming from glucose, low in carbohydrates. But we enjoy foods that are fat rich and protein rich, but are the healthy ones. Sir Ani, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we are live here in Youth TV Network. So we have listeners from all over the world. We have Sri Lanka, we have United Kingdom, we also have some in the USA, and of course us here in the Philippines and many parts of Asia. So we are trying to talk in what we consider as the universal language, we speak in English so that everybody can understand and can benefit from the way of life. So the first 5 chapters actually is about the general characteristics of the modern day food eating that we are used to, okay? So with that modern day of eating actually comes also is our modern day diseases. And I believe if only we know how to get back to our roots and how we are supposed to be taking foods or on how we are supposed to be eating foods, it could have been the best time to live, because we already discovered antibiotics to cure infections. We also have our own safety gears, and there's even not much violence, except for, I know there are war-laden areas, but generally there's not much ongoing trauma or injury or any physical activity that can lead us to many illnesses, because about 5% only is due to injury, like physical injury, but a large part, 90 to 95% of the illnesses that we have today is actually coming from poor food choices, poor lifestyle. In addition to that, of course, the stress that we have, the many vices that some of us have, smoking, alcohol intake, but most importantly, I think the most underrated, we just underestimated the effect of sugar in our body. So that is very important that we come to know how to improve our health just by improving our food choices. So since we started late, we don't want to go and steal the time of other shows that will come in Youth TV as well as Global TV network and also from my page. So we will have this episode a little short, but we will try to make it as consistent and as compact and of course as substantial as possible. So before we proceed, I would like to say hi, of course, to Kerr Santos, Rico Fernando, and my dearest Chloe Nicasio, favorite book amongst the series. So we have 3 series yet. So for as of this day, we only have 3 books. But mind you, and don't worry, we will still have a lot of books coming. And of course, it will be focusing on betterment of health and wellness for each and everyone. M. Sanchez, hello. Catherine Ann Dalangin Juare, hello. And of course, Annabelle Vicky Oduhan. Thank you so much for tuning in, for staying with us live. And Marvy, of course. So, this is going to be a book reading session. Okay, so this book reading session, I will read you chapter 16. Okay, chapter 16 will make sure that you won't be able to say yes. If you can say no to foods, to sweets, to desserts, please do so, because it will only make us enslaved of sweet taste for as long as we can. So chapter 16 is getting a sweet fix without the sugar. So this is going to be a book reading episode, and I hope you are there listening. So each chapter of the book is actually, there is a title, and it is also has an accompanying quote, which I love very much, from gurus and a lot of Jedis and Yodas when it comes to fasting and low carb community. Hello, my dearest Nicey, my good friend Nice from med school. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the title is Getting a Sweet Fix Without the Sugar. How can we get a sweet fix without the sugar? Yes, because sweetness doesn't only come from sugar. It can come from so many else. So, my books, nasa hirapan na po, hindi pa nababalik. Thank you so much, Sir Ani purchased, I think, a couple of books, for himself and for friends. And he's been very, very active in sharing this way of life. For those of you who just tuned in and who might not be familiar or is seeing this show for the first time, this way of life that we are actually talking about is low carb feasting, and at the same time low carb feasting and fasting lifestyle, because whenever we eat, we make sure we do low carb, but as much as possible we fast as long as we can. So as for me today, I've been fasting since 9 in the evening, and I just broke my dry fast here because I know I will be talking a lot. So I took some sips of water. So as you can see, I just drank a couple of sips from here and I'm already good to go. And I'm so happy that we are all here right now. So Kit Villar Haka just received the books today. Thank you so much. I'm glad it arrived today, and I'm so happy that you get to see, and hopefully you can read it soon. And of course, Susan Esconde, Eileen Joy, and our admin and our moderators and Youth Outreach United to Help, thank you so much. Please do like and share this page and of course this video so that others can come as well. So we will start. Chapter 16, Getting a Sweet Fix Without the Sugar. Life is like a tree, and its roots is consciousness. Therefore, once we tend the root, the tree as a whole will be healthy. So this is by Deepak Chopra. So this is important because what you do with the roots will also dictate the overall health. So it comes with our habits that we cultivate in order for us to see a very healthy person, a very healthy body, and a very healthy mind. You can't expect someone having healthy body and mind if you see them just eating junks, just poisoning their head with negative thoughts, and also thinking of and doing things that is not beneficial for the body. Like for example, always not moving at all, and avoiding any sort of physical activity, not incorporating fasting, eating more than 12 hours in a day, and most importantly, eating the wrong foods. You cannot expect that person to come out as healthy. They may appear as healthy on a certain period, on a certain time, but it will not be sustainable for long. So that is the most important thing here, is knowing how to tend the roots, meaning how to establish a healthy habit, healthy day-to-day habit, because those habits will eventually become part of our routine, which will dictate the overall outcome of our health when it comes to our body, medical side, physical side, and even mental side. Hello, Verse Ali. Thank you so much for tuning in. So if you have not read the book, or if you don't have a copy of the book, don't worry, because we will have a glimpse of what is the book is all about by chapter 16. I will add a little more that is not here yet when I wrote this, but now I am currently practicing, and so far it's been so good. Today is already my 12th day of zero sugar, zero sweets. No sugar and no sweets, even low carb sweets. No allulose, no monk fruit, no stevia, nothing at all. I've been enjoying foods that are salty, sour, savory, and very, very yummy, and some even creamy, but nothing sweet and nothing sugary. So far I've been really feeling great about this, because this is the only time that my heart is no longer looking for sugar or sweet, because it is simply an option of no. And I am so happy that this time I get to share it with you. Amabel, hi Doc, my sister Ophelia Jimenez Nissan from Toronto, Canada, is on LCIF also. It is so good when family come together, believing the same thing, practicing the same thing. Everything else is easier and especially smoother. There is much happy and more rewarding experience when we are all in this lifestyle together with our loved ones, because it would be such a somewhat waste and somewhat heartbreaking if we are very healthy, we are at the top of our health, but knowing our loved ones, the ones dearest to us, are suffering or will soon suffer from many illness that are already damaging so many just because of poor lifestyle choices, but supposedly very much curable, very much preventable, if only we know what to eat and when to eat. So getting our focus for today is about sugar cravings and sugar addictions, and how to get a sweet fix without the sugar. So to start, sugar, they said, is the most abused drug that the world refuses to accept. In a book published by Dr. John Yudkin in 1960s, I think, Pure, White, and Deadly as the title, it was emphasized that we only eat sugar because we like it and not because we need it. This idea points out the fact that sugar only activates the pleasure center in our brain and not the satisfaction or satiety center. Thus, we keep on consuming it until our stomach or body can no longer take it, but our brain still craves for it. And even if you know that sugar is bad for you and can eventually put your life in danger, you still choose to give in to that temporary pleasure. This purely defines addiction. I know it may be hard for us to accept, but in every sense of the word, it is addiction. I myself am also a sugar addict. I believe I have rehabilitated myself. For more than 6 months, I have not eaten any refined carbohydrates and simple sugar. And for more than 30 days, I have not eaten anything sweet, even the ones approved in the low-carb meal plans, just so I can see for myself that I can live without it. I successfully finished that phase, and right now, I still avoid all kinds of sweets. But I consciously take sometimes when that kind of sweet is really worth it, and just compensate by either eating a small portion equivalent to my carbohydrate allowance for the day or just extend my fast after. So in the world of psychology, a behavior is already considered as addicting if one is having a hard time stopping it despite the fact that it already affects or jeopardizes your relationships with family and loved ones, your work or career, or towards oneself. And knowing that sugar will lead to damaging effects on your body physically and to still consume it beyond its safe range is a true sign of addiction. And if you care enough for your own sake and your loved one, you can start considering living a life without it. Once you decide that you will try, the following are some of the tips and thoughts that can help one break free from sugar bondage. So number 1, whenever there is sugar craving, do the following first, before or prior to giving in. First, drink a glass of water. Most likely, it is just dehydration. But your brain senses the need for something, but it cannot delineate enough what it really needs. And since you are now fond of the pleasure of sweets, it easily comes to mind. It's like your brain is telling you the signal on reminding you on what's that most pleasurable thing that you've had the last time. And usually it is the sweet one, the sugary one. So don't get fooled. Know first that the most common cause of sugar craving is actually just related to dehydration, which is water. Okay, so letter B, if water doesn't cure it, take a pinch of salt and wait for 5 minutes. Most, if not all, of the sugar cravings that are actually due to sodium deficit in our body. Sodium or salt can be found in salt. Being the most abundant electrolyte is also the one that needs to be replenished more often, as this is continuously eliminated in our urine. However, as sugar dependents, we do not consider salt as essential. As a result, a lot of us are resorting to sweets. Then look for something salty again, and then sweets again, until your supply runs out or your stomach is about to burst. As a reminder, sugar is non-essential. We can create it within our cells if we need glucose. Our liver is capable of gluconeogenesis or creating its own sugar should it need it. The perceived need for sugar is largely psychological and is something that we should recognize in order for us to properly address it. If there is no salt, anything salty will do, okay? Most likely, if it's salty, it's most likely salt. Some salt, like no salt, the brand no salt, it's potassium. So another electrolyte that you can have, it could be sodium. If it doesn't cure it, you can add magnesium, because magnesium is a very important supplement as well, very important electrolyte. And if not, you can also add potassium, because mostly if we've been depriving ourselves with sodium for so long, there is actually a higher chance that our body also is deficient with potassium because we have not saved it from proper sodium intake. Yes, because if we are taking enough sodium, we can actually take care or lessen the risk of having hypokalemia or lower potassium in the body, because sodium or salt is what we consider as potassium sparing. And lastly, take a walk from the table if water and salt and electrolytes did not cure it, and remind yourself how sugar is not good for you. Exercise will give you the idea that out of sight, out of mind in this scenario. Apply this in your pantry as well. You can try by start cleaning it up and removing any sweets in your kitchen. So number 2, when eating, eat the most savory fats and proteins first. These macronutrients trigger the sense of satisfaction, or the satiety center in our brain, and when cooked well, can activate also the pleasure center. This way, you can have a meal that is both satisfying and at the same time pleasurable without resorting to sweet desserts. Third, sleep well. Yes, sleep is also very, very important. Lack of sleep increases stress hormones, and these sends erroneous signals to eat sweets as a means to compensate for the need of your mind to rest. It can be irresistible once in. Thus, for prevention, try to plan a good sleeping time ahead. If you only have enough sleep, just like dehydration, you will also lessen the risk of confusing the need for sleep for the need for sugar. Because again, biochemically, we do not need sugar. Sugar is non-essential. It doesn't need to come from the outside. Our body can create its own sugar. Fourth, avoid stress when you can. Just like lack of sleep, stress also induces the same response. And number 5, all forms of sweets, especially artificial sweeteners, including zero sugar colas, since the sweet taste triggers the pleasure center, not to mention, to some extent, also induces insulin release. Your brain cannot determine what is the specific source of that sensation, that you will be bound to keep on searching and craving for it. Just like any addicting drugs, slow weaning will not work. Moderation will not work for those who are affected with sugar addiction, because it will only keep your head anticipating for the next real thing. Completely eradicate sweet all at once. That is one way. Complete abstinence. That's what I did 12 days ago, and so far it worked well for me, and I plan to continue until the end of time if I can. But don't worry, we are still a little halfway, and we can have more tips and tricks if you do not want to have completely eliminate sugar in your meals forever. So completely eradicate sweets all at once when you can. It will be hard at first, but once you've got past that first few days, it gets easier each time. Whenever you are presented with something sweet in front of you, you can think of the following as a way to deal with it. You know how it tastes already. Remember that almost all of these foods you've already tasted. So it may sound funny, but you can recall and savor it in your head. Smell it if you need to, then let it go. Be satisfied with the idea that you already had the pleasure of knowing its taste already, and the memory will stay with you anytime you need to. Remember, half of the food experience is actually from smell. Actually, even more, up to 80%. So you can be sure you can almost taste it, but without actually taking it in. Again, second technique is try the salt fix. After that, you can also use the water and the walk away technique. That way you can say no to them. And lastly, recall that sugar is not essential. Consider the craving as a demon, and giving in will feed that demon and not you. Number 7, do something soothing like exercise, massage, or a hot bath, or even a cold bath if you want to. Happy hormones, or even hug someone. I usually have my loved ones with me so I can easily hug them, or my go-to cuddle partners are my dogs. So they give me an endorphin and dopamine rush, and usually after that I feel so good I can even forget about my sweet craving. So do something soothing, And because happy hormones released during these times and other pleasurable activities not related to food are the best ones to counter the stress. Number 8, if the craving persists, check your meals. Since your total caloric or nutrient intake might be deficient, you can compute your minimum daily requirement by multiplying your weight in kilograms to 30 kcal. So this is a simplified calculation of basal metabolic rate. Add accordingly if you have a physical activity. Consider taking multivitamin supplements if you think your daily meals are not nutritious. So number 9, talk to someone if needed. Most likely, you know someone who needs to do a sugar rehab. Okay, a commitment to do it on your own is great. But having external support can make things a lot easier. If there is none, or worse, others who are very unsupportive, then you can even use it as motivation to do better instead. Number 10, if all else fail, at least eat healthy kind of sweets, okay? You can choose to eat the healthy ones. The following is in descending order. So first, if you must eat something sweet, choose whole, fresh, low-carb fruits. Most importantly, the nutritious ones without the added or extra sugar or fructose. So we have berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, but here in Asia, we seldom have that. So we can actually have mature coconut meat because although it has some degree of carbohydrates, but it's also very high in good fats. And watermelon. Watermelon is largely water plus a little fructose, but as long as you just limit to a slice or two, you cannot overeat it. So letter B would be whole fresh fruits in portions because these can be high in fructose as well and can elicit insulin spike. So examples would be peaches, oranges, plums, apples, pineapples, cherry, kiwi, pear, and the most favorite among Filipinos, mangoes, because we have the sweetest mangoes in the world, maybe we can see. Okay, letter C, after the whole fresh fruits, you can have low carb desserts if ever it's still not there. So low carb desserts, you can choose sweeteners that are most natural and at the same time doesn't have any insulin effect. That would include stevia, monk fruit, erythritol, and also allulose. And if that is still not available as well, maybe what you only have is, maybe you're in a hotel and what they offer is only sucralose, aspartame, etc. Those kinds of low carb desserts, but they are artificial and they are shown and are seen to have some degree of insulin effect. And lastly, make the regular desserts the least amount, the least among your options. Or if you must take them, make sure you eat them in small portions, and then you can extend your fast up to 18 hours after when you can, because to make sure that the insulin is already cleared in your system by the time you eat your next meal. So if doing this seems impossible, try to do it one day at a time or commit at least a 21-day habit forming challenge. So that is what I'm actually trying to do now. I reset my sugar rehabilitation. This book was written in 2019, so you know things happened, no? Shit happened in 2020, so you would like to get back. So this one is my take 2 of sugar rehab for 2021, and hopefully it's going to be for good. So I'm already in my day 12 and I will keep you posted once I successfully finish my 21-day habit forming challenge, and at the same time hope to continue as we go on. So know that even if you successfully accomplish that 21 days, you might still miss sugar from time to time. But this time, there will no longer be heartaches. It will simply just become a memory. Just that, and you can simply brush it off and move on. I wish you the best, and it's going to be a lifelong journey. It is going to be worth it. So that's the end of chapter 16, and we are already in chapter 17, which is prevention, but that is off to another topic. That is only our short and sweet but sugar-free episode for this Monday. Thank you all so much. Before we end, I would like to say hi to Chloe and my dearest mommy, and of course, Tita Karen, my dear, Heidi Hepolio Togonan, Cheryl Gesmundo Cruz, and of course, Amabel. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that at least even a little, whatever we do here, our live episodes, our health, sharing of health and wellness, our groups in Life Without Rice, and also our groups in low carb feasting and fasting community are all very, very supportive. If you still have some questions in there, or if there are some things you want to clarify, or if you have your own tips and tricks on how you were able to combat sugar addiction and sugar cravings, please do share them at the comment section so that our other followers and our other friends in this way of life can also benefit. So a community that supports each other is very, very important, and it will really matter, especially when we are getting bigger and it's becoming even better. So I would like to say hi to our dear Sir Norwin Crespo, our very supportive admin in Global TV Network, and at the same time here in Youth TV Network. So before we go, I would like to have some shout out on our certain partners in this episode. Thank you so much for coming in, for always supporting Geraldine Govender of South Africa, Greshni of Sri Lanka, Dr. Vara Prasad and Mona Shah of India, Rasmi Rai of Scotland, and of course Dr. Ram Krishna Shah of the USA. Thank you so much, Rico Fernando. I'll see you again this coming Monday, both in my page. This is your Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo. Thank you so much. You are watching this in Youth TV Network, Youth Outreach United to Help, and at the same time from Global TV Network. Thank you all for watching and for supporting. See you again this Wednesday, and of course this coming Friday. That would be all for now. Bye bye everyone. Stay low carb, stay safe.